Namaskar, welcome to Inside 20 with Ashok Vyas. And this Monday, as I welcome you, there have been a lot that we have witnessed through newspapers. What you see behind me is part of Indian population, but what we have seen in this weekend in India, in Jaipur, Rajasthan, was a natural calamity by strike, which is, we say, bijli gir gayi. That literally happened. 11 people, unfortunately, were killed. They were trying to take selfies. That was the first rain. And there have been several other places where this light strike happened. With condolences for the families and praying for good for one and all. And as we talk about good, we also need to pay attention to resources, and that reference keeps coming and going back to cold storage in terms of population control. And today, when we are discussing Indian democracy and demography, I have the pleasure of welcoming from Boston Sanjay Kaulji, Vice President of World Hindu Council, community leader Jagdish Sevani ji. He wears several hats. But today he is someone who loves India, who loves humanity. And when we say we love humanity, where do you see the need of population control? Does it work with our love for humanity, or it is going against humanity? I would have a brief comment from Jagdish Sevani ji, because we are talking in the context of a draft bill proposed by UP Chief Minister and which has been criticized, of course. But your take.
Namaskar, Ashokji. First of all, dhanyavad for having me. I think looking at the days, what is happening in Bharat, you have really come out with a beautiful topic today, the population control. You must be aware that in 2027, India is going to be the most populous country in the world. I think we have been talking about it for a long time to control the population. And where else but to start from Uttar Pradesh, the most populous country in India. And because of that, the rate at which population is increasing in UP, whatever government is doing, it is not enough to take care of so many people. And if you see, because of the population, the GDP or average income per person in UP is lowest perhaps in Bharat, half the national average. So the time has come. I mean, it is overdue to control the population so that everybody, every citizen of UP and Bharat can enjoy whatever is available. Because if the rate at which the population keeps on increasing, the government will not be able to give all the amenities which they want, whether it is education, whether it is healthcare, whether it is food. So it has to sacrifice. So time has come to control the population of Bharat and to start with Uttar Pradesh. And I 100% support Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, Yogi ji, for doing it. And actually I commend him for doing it.
So now let us move towards the opposition to this draft bill, and I'll bring Sanjay ji with another reference. Many times whenever there is a reference of population control, whether explicitly or implicitly, somewhere people look at it as something to curtail or contain the population explosion of a particular community. And since you come from Jammu and Kashmir, and we will come to UP, but we go towards Jammu and Kashmir with you. In terms of the way demography, that is number of a particular community being in a particular area, plays its role as far as smooth functioning of Indian democracy is concerned. Your personal observation of Jammu and Kashmir, and then we come back to India as a whole with UP.
See, first of all, namaste to all your viewers, and thank you for the opportunity to speak on this important topic, Ashokji, and to the ITV Gold channel. think about this. When you're talking about progress in any community, any society, or any country, you're talking about affordable food, you're talking about safe drinking water, you're talking about decent housing, you're talking about access to quality education, you're talking about economic opportunities, you're talking about having electricity 24 hours a day to be made available to everybody. You're talking about safe and secure living conditions for one and all. And if you have humongous burden on your resources, then you're not going to be able to provide all these basic amenities of life. And when we look at any state in the Union of India, the population growth has been tremendously on the incline only. If you look at the population from 1901 to 2001, there has been tremendous growth. The population multiplied more than 3 times from where it was into 1901. So obviously it's a choking on the resources. The same is true for every state, whether you talk about Jammu and Kashmir, you talk about Kerala, you talk about Assam, or you talk about UP. Coming to the fact that UP is the largest state in the country, it is actually in terms of population, it is larger than Pakistan, it is larger than Bangladesh, just in the neighboring vicinity.
Yeah, so let me interrupt you for a quick second and fill in a little bit of information for our viewers also that is related to the population draft policy 2021-2030. That is the draft which was unveiled this Sunday by UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath, and this is a 40-page policy documentation which is attempting to ensure there is a population balance among various communities in the state. And they also are referring to communities, groups and geographical areas where fertility rates were higher. So I'll break down to 2-3 points which are a part of this draft bill, which is also not the final draft. Actually, it is seeking response of people, and they have been very, very active and forthright in coming up with a response. So this bill proposes that people having more than 2 children in the state will be debarred from contesting local body polls, applying for government jobs, or receiving any kind of subsidy. So this is a very major deterrent as far as their participation in the democratic functioning of the country is concerned. Whether it holds some valid ground to be enacted, and these provisions of the proposed legislation titled the Uttar Pradesh Population Control, Stabilization and Welfare Bill 2021 will come into force after 1 year from the date of publication in the Gazette, according to UP State Law Commission website. Now there have been different responses, and we will take a few of them, but I'll come back to Sanjay ji. Let me go to Jagdish ji. You have been an active part of Vishwa Hindu Parishad in some or the other way, I believe. And VHP has also shared its concern that there is one child policy from its draft population bill, and saying that this ban. So basically, they are opposing this draft bill. Your take?
Ashokji, you have to understand the context.
Sanjay, I'll come to you with another.
Okay.
So let Jagdish ji take this first. Yeah, please.
Yeah, Ashok ji, the population, like you rightly said, the population of, if you see UP or anywhere else in Bharat, the Muslim population is increasing at much higher rate than Hindu population. If you remember, at the time of partition in 1947, they were hardly 3 crores. Today, they are 20 crores. So they are more popular. Like Sanjay ji said, it is more population of Muslims reside in India than in Pakistan. The time has come that there is at this rate, in 2050, according to the experts, India could be a Muslim majority country, if not 2050, perhaps in 2060 or whatever. So it is very important to have a population control and a uniform civil code.
Okay, so let me hold you
one
for.
community cannot have three wives or four wives.
Okay,
and the
so
other
let
community
me
only
hold you.
one.
Let me hold you there for a minute. And
Sure.
Sanjay ji, I understand you are vice president of World Hindu Council, but let us look at India with its secular fabric and even the reference that this community's population more than that community, or this way they are increasing their population. Does it somewhere take away the sanctity of the secular nature of the nation? So the way Jagdish ji mentioned about the percentage of growth of Muslim population, then there would be another data which would tell you that Hindu population has also grown. Maybe the percentage may not match, but overall population is growing. So that part one side. Before we come to UP's reference again, your take on considering demography as an important factor as far as India's growth as well as democracy is concerned.
See, if you look at this bill, Ashokji, the title of it is Population Control, Stabilization and a Welfare Bill. And the preamble of this draft bill basically says it wants to stabilize the population and it wants to promote a two-child norm in the state. So it is not pointing to any one community. What Jagdish ji is saying, that is true based on the facts of the fertility rate. In India, the Hindus have a fertility rate of less than 1.71, whereas you need 2.1 to even replicate your own population.
Yes.
But the Muslims are, their fertility rate is above of 3.16. So we are not looking into that. I don't think that is the intention of this bill. The intention of this bill is basically how do we control the population explosion in the country and be able to provide equitable measures to the population in the long run.
Sounds good. And now let me bring to both of your attention the response from one MP of Samajwadi Party from Sambal, Shafiqur Rahman Burke, and he says that this is an election propaganda, this bill, and he also said those who will challenge the law of Allah will be finished. These are the statements of the MP of Samajwadi Party from Sambal. Mr. Shafiqur Rahman also says that this is all to win elections, and so that is where I was trying to understand from you, Jagdish ji. Do you see this has some bearing on election somewhere? Because he says that since assembly election is coming, they are concerned about it, and I would like you to share your thoughts on how population policy have any relationship with the upcoming assembly election. Jagdish.
Ashokji, absolutely not. This has nothing to do with the election. We are talking about Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. We want development. Yogi ji is here talking about absolutely development. So that every person, like Sanjay ji said, the way population is exploding in Bharat, it will be very difficult to provide drinking water, good education, good food, good housing to everybody. That is the reason Yogi ji has come out with the bill, so that there is, limitation to the population, so that we can take care of every citizen of UP and Bharat. This has nothing to do with the election. Yogi ji believes in good governance, and this is part of that policy. No election. He doesn't have no motive about winning election. The way he has performed in last 4.5 years, he is going to win election anyway. It has nothing to do with that.
Okay, so Jagdish ji has one point, and Sanjay ji, I would like you to be little analytical and kind of look at the potential impact which proposal of this bill, the way I shared the response of Samajwadi party's member of parliament and who of course belongs from the Muslim community. So looks like Yogi ji having more of an image of being a pro-Hindu is bringing this, and it would draw more Hindus to his fold. Is general psychological analysis that you can read in this statement. Now, your analytical views on where is he coming from, and let us say, is there any grain of truth in the fact that if the demography is or population is stabilized, it would support this or that party?
Ashokji, very good question. Instead of just responding to this Shafiqul Rahman, he's an MP. I hope he's educated and a learned person, but it doesn't seem so from his statement. Because let's look at a couple of things. One, the United Nations Development Program has declared July 11th as the Population Day, and they actually promote birth control as a means of curbing the population of this world. Then we also can look at China. In 1979, they implemented one child per family policy. And then in certain parts, you could argument they are saying for rural areas, they could have 2 children. But then they implemented in strict ways the birth control programs. So not only UN promotes it, not only certain countries promote it, but there are countries like Pakistan, Turkey, Egypt, which are Muslim countries. They are also implementing and promoting birth control. So if this guy is talking about Allah ka kehar aayega on anybody who proposes such bills, then he has to put that kehar first on those Islamic countries. And he has to understand the dynamics of why those countries are trying to put a curb on the population explosion. Obviously, resources have to be equitably given to everybody. So for that, you have to look into the measures. How do we control the population explosion? I think not only this is not related to the upcoming election, because we for sure know that the Muslim community in India votes en bloc. And by doing this, 20% or whatever percentage of the Muslims in the population are in the UP will vote en bloc against him. You said in your statement that it could be that the Hindus may gravitate towards him, but then there is a question of could and may. But obviously he's taking a greater risk in the interest of the state, in the interest of the nation. So I think he has put the nation above and beyond his own future in the election.
So I appreciate your comments, and I find it below the level of our conversation, but this is how former Union Minister Mr. Salman Khurshid has commented on this bill which is proposed, as you said, in the overall good or development oriented with mindset. So Jagdish ji, I want you to comment on the mindset of Congress. I am aware that you are not a Congress person, but look at the response from Union Minister Salman Khurshid reacting to this proposed population policy draft. He says politicians should declare how many children they have. I will also declare how many I have, but he also says how many legitimate and illegitimate children. Now that is kind of like a hammer on any sensible, culturally oriented Indian. Now, but this is coming from quite a senior leader of Congress. Your response to this?
Ashokji, you rightly said, I would not like to dignify by commenting on what he said. Actually, you are aware that since last 70 years, out of which 60 years Congress ruled, their only way they ruled was the appeasement of minority. That's the way they believe that Muslim voter is just a vote bank for them, nothing else. And by saying what he said, today Salman Khurshid, who was a former foreign minister and all, he has crossed all the boundaries of I don't know what to say, and he should not have done it. So
Okay, so yeah,
the
let me.
less we
Yeah,
say about Salman is better. But we
absolutely.
should
Yeah.
focus on what today. You must be aware of what happened in UP today. They have arrested 2 terrorists, Al Qaeda terrorists in UP. Not only that, now they are looking at in Lucknow. They are near from Lucknow, and now from other parts of the UP also there are some terrorist activities going on. So, and you know what Samajwadi Party leader say? That he doesn't believe in the police of UP. Can you believe former chief minister of UP saying he doesn't believe in the police of UP? So they have crossed all the limits, and we just should ignore them and concentrate on governing the UP.
Yeah. So very quickly, Sanjay ji, as Jagdish ji says that we should ignore them, I think that's not how democracy functions. You cannot ignore people who are trying to pull you back. You have to figure out a way to deal with them in the constitutional and legal and appropriate manner. So, your quick response to this, and then we move on.
See, I would say instead of ignoring a person like Salman Khurshid, we should take them on head on, because if you look at this draft bill, it's basically saying 3 major points. One, it is saying to increase the accessibility to contraceptives, and the second one is safe abortions. Third one is reduce newborn and maternal mobility rate. The next one, the fourth one, is better management of education, health network, and nutrition. So if you look at it, the idea behind this bill is to be making available the education about having smaller households and how that can actually relate to better health and nutrition for the newborns as well as those in the adolescent age who are most reproductive. And that way it leads to the opportunities for a progressive nation like India. So if we can take them on head on and discuss and have them come on a debate instead of just throwing things out in the wind, we need to take them on.
So I appreciate your take on this, and Jagdish ji, I wouldn't seek your rebuttal to what Sanjay ji said, but objectively speaking, I think you have a point, but that's how Mahatma Gandhi ji taught that बुरा मत देखो, बुरा मत बोलो, बुरा मत सुनो, and then you end up not having a healthy democracy, because democracy
No,
means.
Ashok ji, I totally agree with you. And when I say ignore, it doesn't mean we have to take on them head on. We have to debate with them. But when they come to stoop to such a low level
Absolutely.
of arguing, when Yogi ji has all the best intention that what he wants to do for the state, for the prosperity of the state. UP is the most populous state. If it was a country, it will be the 5th largest country in the world. So the UP is like an engine of Bharat. And if UP grows, the whole Bharat grows, and it will help the GDP of India to grow. So he has all the good intention for the state and for the country.
Okay, so yeah, I appreciate that, and let me seek your comments on another important issue, call it, or so 13th July is observed as Cow Appreciation Day. Now, गौ माता की महिमा के बारे में आपको बहुत सारे ग्रंथ भी बताएंगे, बहुत सारे संत भी बताएंगे, और गायों की रक्षा के साथ में न केवल बहुत सक्रिय संत भी रहे हैं, एक्टिविस्ट भी रहे हैं, और पिछले कुछ समय में गौ रक्षा को लेकर भी कुछ अलग अलग तरह के विवाद जैसे भी निकल कर आए हैं. Now, looking at 13th July being the Cow Appreciation Day, Jagdish ji, you would also be surprised or pleasantly surprised that for the first time, at least to my knowledge, this organization, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, PETA, they have written a letter to Sanjay Likha, chair of the Council for Leather Exports, जिसमें उन्होंने यूनियन मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ कॉमर्स और इंडस्ट्री के साथ जो काम करता है, कहा है कि भाई जो स्लॉटर होता है कैटल्स का, वो गायों का और लेदर गुड्स के लिए, उसकी रोकथाम की जानी चाहिए. And I know this has lot of economic ramifications, etc. But your general take on how we should observe Cow Appreciation Day, Jagdish ji.
Yes, I think right. Very good question, Ashok. Yeah, time has come. गऊ हमारे लिए तो गाय तो हमारे लिए शुरू से ही माता है. When we were growing up, we were taught that गाय हमारी माता है. And now the world has also realized it. It is very, very good. एंड ये पे इस पे टॉपिक पे तो एक शो हो जाना चाहिए कि जो इकोनॉमी की बात कर रहे हैं आपको कि गाय की फ्रॉम इंस्टेड ऑफ स्लॉटरिंग देम वी शुड नॉट स्लॉटर देम. सो आई डीपली अप्रिशिएट इवन द पेटा फॉर डूइंग इट and let us have one special show for this actually so we can discuss in deep about the economy.
So I appreciate that suggestion. Hopefully we'll have that sooner than later. Now going with the same question and adding another dimension for a brief comment, Sanjay ji, we as Hindus, and you are a vice president of World Hindu Council, so we have probably not worked in a systematic manner to educate the next generation about the significant aspect of Hindu culture. That includes the need to be reverential towards cow or why cow is worshipped. So, your comments on this?
See, basically, we have to understand that India has been a farming society for generations. If you look at even present day India, the agriculture industry is the backbone of Indian economy. So anybody who understands living in a village or understands the farming society understands one fact, that if your household owns one cow, then actually it will feed your whole household. That is of prime importance. What is not of importance is what my religion says or what I believe in. It is even the religion is based on scientific things of livability. A cow, if you own a cow, it will take care of all your needs just by providing you milk and other things that it provides. Even its dung from using it as a manure in the field, if you are into farming, into agriculture, how many benefits you have. There are numerous benefits. And for that reason, cow has been revered as an animal in the Indian society, particularly in the Hindu society. But anybody who wants to live in villages understands the importance of having a cow in the household.
Absolutely.
And therefore, you have to value it.
Yeah. So I appreciate your comment, and you are being pragmatic, and you are also looking at the economic side related to taking care of a cow. But I think in the next session, whenever we will also look at how cow is an integral part of the Hindu tradition and Hindu culture, and how Lord Krishna and cow's picture you'll always see in the same frame, as well as there are several reasons for which the kind of respect which is extended to cow has been a part of this flow. I appreciate you joining me today. We could touch a little bit of the population policy draft bill proposed by UP Chief Minister and how it has created a sort of tremor in different political parties. But again, as both of you pointed out, importance of demography in the democracy needs to be underlined. With good wishes and thanks to both of you as well as to all our viewers. This is Ashok.
Thank you, Ashok ji.
Namaste.
Thank you and namaste to all your viewers, and thanks for the opportunity to discuss an important thing about the India and its growth into future.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Namaste.